Have you ever wondered why leaving someone who hurts you feels harder than staying? Why your body tightens at the thought of walking away, even when your mind knows the relationship is damaging? Why separation feels like danger, not relief? If you've experienced this, it doesn't mean you're weak, it doesn't mean you're addicted to pain, and it doesn't mean you're broken. What it means is that your nervous system learned something very specific about safety, connection, and survival. Today, we're going to look at trauma bonding through the lens of polyvagal theory, not to judge your choices, but to understand them. Because when you understand what your nervous system is doing, shame loosens its grip, and healing becomes possible. Trauma bonding isn't just psychological, it's physiological. It lives in the body. And once you see it this way, the question stops being, why do I stay? And becomes, what did my nervous system learn about safety? Let's start there. Your nervous system has one primary job: keep you alive, not happy, not fulfilled, alive. Polyvagal theory explains that your autonomic nervous system operates through three main states, each designed for a different survival need. At the top of the ladder is the ventral vagal state. This is where you feel safe, connected, present. Your body is calm. Your breathing is steady. You can think clearly, feel emotions without being overwhelmed, and connect with others without fear. This is the state where healthy attachment lives, where love feels steady, where connection feels nourishing. But when safety is disrupted, your nervous system moves down the ladder. The next state is sympathetic activation, fight or flight. Here, your body mobilizes. Your heart rate increases, muscles tense. You become hyper-aware of cues, tone shifts, facial expressions. This state isn't bad. It's protective. It's your body saying, something might be wrong. Pay attention. And when that doesn't work, when the threat feels inescapable, your nervous system moves further down into dorsal vagal shutdown. This is freeze, collapse, numbness, energy drops, emotions flatten. You disconnect to survive. Now here's the part that matters for trauma bonding. If your early experiences taught your nervous system that connection comes with danger, unpredictability, emotional withdrawal, criticism, abandonment, or control, your body didn't learn that relationships are safe. It learned that relationships are something you must monitor, manage, and endure. And so connection itself became a survival context. In trauma bonding, the nervous system doesn't stay in ventral safety. It oscillates between sympathetic activation and dorsal shutdown, with brief moments of relief that feel like oxygen. Those moments are what bind you. Because when you live in chronic threat, even small drops of relief feel profound. A text after silence, a soft moment after conflict, an apology that briefly restores calm. Your nervous system doesn't experience these moments as inconsistent behavior. It experiences them as survival regulation. The relief feels like safety, even if it's temporary, even if it comes at a cost. This is where trauma bonding is often misunderstood. People ask, why don't you just leave? But to a nervous system conditioned by trauma, leaving doesn't feel neutral. It feels like death, because your body has learned that connection, even painful connection, is safer than disconnection. Especially if earlier in life, disconnection meant abandonment, emotional neglect, or loss of regulation. Your nervous system remembers this, even if you don't consciously recall it. Polyvagal theory calls this process neuroception, the body's ability to detect safety or danger without conscious thought. Neuroception happens faster than logic, faster than insight, faster than intention. So, when you consider leaving, your body doesn't analyze pros and cons. It scans for survival cues. And if your history says being alone is dangerous, your nervous system reacts accordingly. You might feel panic, collapse, numbness, an overwhelming urge to return. Not because the relationship is healthy, but because your body is trying to regulate itself. This is why trauma bonds feel addictive. Not because you crave pain, but because your nervous system craves relief. The cycle usually looks like this. Connection activates hope. Hope raises vulnerability. Vulnerability triggers threat. Threat activates fight or flight. conflict, distance, or withdrawal follows. The system becomes overwhelmed. Shut down or despair sets in, then relief returns briefly, and the cycle restarts. Each loop reinforces the bond. Because your nervous system learns this person is both the source of distress and the source of relief. And when one person holds both roles, separation becomes terrifying. This is especially true in relationships where intermittent reinforcement is present. Unpredictable affection, inconsistent care, warmth followed by coldness. Intermittent safety is more dysregulating than constant danger because the nervous system stays on high alert, scanning for the next moment of relief. And every time relief comes, dopamine is released, not because things are good, but because tension finally drops. Your body mistakes relief for love. This is why trauma bonding is strongest when the relationship mirrors early attachment wounds. If love once meant earning approval, if closeness once required self-abandonment, if safety once depended on reading someone else's emotional state, then trauma bonding feels familiar, and familiarity feels safe, even when it hurts. Your nervous system doesn't seek what's healthy. It seeks what it knows how to survive. That's a hard truth, but a compassionate one, because it means your patterns make sense. Now let's talk about why leaving often feels worse than staying. When you detach from a trauma bond, your nervous system loses its primary regulation source, even if that source was harmful. Your body doesn't yet know how to self-regulate or co-regulate in safe ways. So, separation triggers a kind of internal free fall. You may feel intense anxiety, emptiness, dissociation, grief that feels unbearable, physical pain in the chest or stomach. This isn't withdrawal from a person, it's withdrawal from a regulation pattern. Your nervous system is suddenly without the cues it relied on, even if those cues were unstable. This is why many people return, not because they don't understand the harm, but because their body can't tolerate the dysregulation yet. Healing trauma. Bonding isn't about willpower. It's about teaching your nervous system new pathways to safety. And this is where polyvagal theory becomes incredibly useful, because it shifts the goal from leave and never feel anything again to build enough safety inside and around you that leaving no longer feels like death. The first step is recognizing your state. Are you in sympathetic activation, anxious, hyper-focused on the relationship, unable to rest? Or are you in dorsal shutdown, numb, collapsed, hopeless, disconnected from yourself? Neither state is wrong. They are responses. But healing requires access to ventral vagal safety. Not all the time, just enough. Safety doesn't arrive as a sudden feeling of peace. It arrives in small moments of neutrality, moments where your breath deepens, your shoulders drop, your thoughts slow. These moments matter more than insight, because your nervous system learns through experience, not explanation. This is why co-regulation is so important in trauma recovery. Healthy nervous systems regulate each other. Being around someone calm, grounded, predictable, even briefly, can help your system remember what safety feels like. This doesn't mean replacing one bond with another. It means expanding your nervous system's options so that one person no longer holds all the power to regulate you. Somatic practices support this process. Gentle movement, breath awareness, grounding through the senses, not to fix you, but to show your body that activation can rise and fall without catastrophe. Another crucial piece is grief. Trauma bonding involves grieving not just the relationship, but the illusion of safety it provided, the hope, the potential, the moments where things felt almost right. Grief doesn't mean the relationship was healthy. It means it mattered to your nervous system. Allowing grief without returning is one of the hardest steps, and one of the most healing. Over time, as your nervous system experiences safety outside the bond, something shifts. The pull weakens. The urgency softens. The bond loses its charge, not because you forced yourself to detach, but because your body no longer needs that pattern to survive. This is what healing looks like. Not erasing attachment, but updating it. Your nervous system learns connection doesn't have to hurt to be real. Distance doesn't equal death. I can feel activated and still be safe. And slowly, choice returns. If you're still in a trauma bond, this doesn't mean you failed. It means your nervous system is doing exactly what it learned to do. And with patience, support, and repeated experiences of safety, it can learn something new. You're not staying because you're weak. You're staying because your body believes it's protecting you. And the work isn't to fight that, but to gently teach your nervous system that safety is possible without pain.